Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about authors, what they've written, and a little bit more about them. With us right now, we're with Patti Tingen. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And you are a writer. You've written 3 books, and 2 of them you've won awards, but you weren't trained as a writer. And how did this start? But it started with this first book, right? He Was Never a Cat.
Yes.
All right.
That's how it started. I had this amazing cat, Knickerbocker, and he was my soulmate, and he was hilarious, and I just had all these stories about him, and I thought, I want to write these down, if for nothing more than to preserve his stories just for myself and my husband, so we'd never forget them. And my husband said, okay, yeah, you knock yourself out, go write a book. And I said, no, I'm going to do this. And then he was the one that actually said, well, if you really want to do something with it, why don't you put some of your story in there? And so then I thought, and then I believe God gave me the idea of Nick's story, my story, your story. And so each chapter is broken into those 3 parts. And I first tell stories about Nick, which again, he was hilarious. So there's a lot of funny stories in there. And then I draw a spiritual parallel and tell some of my testimony. And then the 3rd part is for the reader to look at that for themselves. So each chapter teaches a little life lesson. Yeah. So it just came together and people loved it.
Here
so
it is,
I was like, oh my gosh, I wrote a book.
So what year was this in, Pat?
That was 2010.
2010. And then how did you promote this?
Started out just with friends and family from church. Several years prior to that, I had started doing some speaking at my church, which was also very unexpected, but God had given me some things to say based on my life experiences and some difficult things that I had gone through. And I found that, again, it was very well received, and people found hope and encouragement in my words and being an example that God can see us through some difficult things, and got a lot of feedback of, wow, you know, if you can go through this, if you can do this, so can I. So I had a lot of material that I already had that I could put in the book. So obviously a lot of friends at church like, oh, I want a copy. So did that, and then started out doing some things online a little bit, and then also started going to some vendor shows and selling the book that way. And that was just really fun to meet people and talk to them and hear some of their stories. And so especially people who love cats are drawn to Nick's picture, and they see their own cats in him, and they'll say, oh, he looks just like Boofy, or oh, he looks just like Tiger, let me show you. And they'll show me pictures. And my favorite story of that was 2 ladies, and the one said, oh, he looks just like Bob. And the other lady says, well, Bob is orange. And she said, well, I know, but he looks just like him. So I think people just identify with him. And so I promoted the book that way.
So where can they get this now? From your website, or?
They can get it at Amazon or any sites online. My website has links to the different online sites where it is. They can get them from me directly, and there's contact information on the site. All of the books are also at the Moravian Church gift shop in Lidditz. And a couple of the books are at Paul Print Gifts in Lidditz, and my kids' book is at Aaron's Books in Lidditz.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, the second book you wrote was this one, right?
Yes.
A God for All Seasons, Inspiration and Reflection for All Times. Tell me how this came about. And this is an award-winning book, too.
Yes.
What did it win?
Yes, I won several awards for that. I won a silver medal from Reader's Favorite, which is an international competition, so I was very proud of that. And in writing that, I joined an online writers group, and so I met people from all over the world. And got a lot of feedback from folks far more experienced and talented than I am or was, and they really helped me polish that book up. And that was exciting. And so now I have friends
everywhere.
And some of them bought the book. And so, so that was just amazing.
So the basis for
this
that book
is based on Ecclesiastes 3, where there's a time and season for everything. And it's kind of like a devotional. Each chapter is a month of the year, starting with December and winter. And I go through the seasons and again share some of my testimony and the difficulties that my husband and I went through. We had a lot of financial difficulty, some deaths. We had the death of our cat Knickerbocker, and just some other things that were hitting us all at once. My husband had trouble finding a job, and so often we feel like we're never going to get out of winter. But what God showed me, in worship one day listening to a song called Faithful by Chris Tomlin, I felt like I saw this timeline of my life. All the good and the bad, the ups and downs. But right through the center of it was God's faithfulness. And I thought, He is faithful in every season. He is with me. And I thought, He is a God for all seasons. So that book has been really encouraging to people going through difficult times, no matter what they are, because we all have various struggles. They're different, but there's some similarities.
It seems like you really write from your heart. Is that accurate?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah. Again, just based on experiences that I've been through, and God has just blessed me unexpectedly with words of hope that I can share with people. And so one of the themes that God has given me is that we all have purpose. And that theme has carried through all of the books. And another is that, especially with my teaching at church, several people have commented that I'm able to explain some profound truths in a simple way. And I thought, that's me. I'm simple and profound at the same time.
And I think this book is that too.
And the kids' book, yes.
And what is the purpose of this? You got an award for this too, right?
Yes. I got a bronze medal from Reader's Favorite for that. And this book, A Cat Named Mouse, is a little bullying story. And Mouse wants a best friend, and he tries to make friends with the dog next door, and the dog teases him because of his name. Right. And then he meets a little mouse named Cheese, and Cheese discovers that the dog has a secret, and his name is Cat. So that's why he's got his own issues going on. So then the tables are turned, and Mouse gets some revenge. But in the end, they get to be friends.
And it's valuable lessons that you bring out in here.
Right. And what really amazed me was, again, this was a gal that I met online. I think she's from some country in Europe. I don't even know. She's from somewhere else. Let's say it that way. But she had reviewed the book for me and gave me a review on Amazon. And one of the things that she said was, it's a simple story with a profound message. And I thought, oh my gosh, there are those two exact words again, simple and profound. And so it just reinforced to me that God uses us, and that whatever message, He's given us each unique messages, and that message comes through and shines through no matter what we do. And I never expect the kids' book. I just thought it was a fun story that, I got inspired to write, but it ended up having a very similar theme. And so it's all just been an amazing journey.
That's what I was going to say. It is a journey. And the journey may very well continue, as we started to talk about off camera before we started recording, correct?
Right.
Who knows what the next phase will be?
Right. Yeah. I have no idea. I never would have thought that I'd have done any of this.
Right.
So it's just, it's fun.
And it's been, adventure. I bet you've learned a lot too, as you were saying, interactions with people and the way you've touched people through these different books that they can relate to.
Right. As I say, I do a lot of vendor shows, and it's just fun to meet people. And even if people don't buy the books, just to talk to them, and often people feel comfortable with sharing their stories with me and some of the difficulties. And we never know. We're so quick to judge people by appearances, and you just look, and in an instant you make some sort of snap judgment. And we're wrong. We don't know what people might be going through, and often people come up to my table, and especially they'll look at the Nick book, and maybe they've lost a cat or something. They'll just have tears in their eyes, or the
Right.
God for All Seasons, and they'll tell me about some of their story and some difficulties, and maybe they're fighting a cancer diagnosis, or they're going through a divorce, or whatever it might be, and my books are able to give them hope, and
Yeah.
there's nothing better
Right.
than that.
The way you connect people with your books are really great, because you touch people on so many different levels through these different stories, narratives that you put together. So I could say you really have found a calling with this too, haven't you?
Thank you. I think I have.
But
Yeah.
you have. What we're going to do, we're going to put her website up on the screen again too, so that way we can find out where you can get your books, you can find out more about you and what you've written, and also we can probably find out what may be going on in the future with more
Right,
writings too.
right.
So thank you so much for coming in and for sharing what you're doing and the impact that you're having with your books.
You're welcome. Thank you
Thanks
for
so
having me.
much. And we'll be right back after this.